What's up, guys? Open Ice Hits with Scotty2 Hockey. And after last night's loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, let's talk a little bit about the current affair, the current state of the Montreal Canadiens. And it is quite a state, what can I say? After a solid start to the season, Montreal was looking like a very competitive team that could score consistently, had good special teams, and could keep the puck out of the net with reliable goaltending night in and night out. By the 20-game mark, they were in a playoff spot and had their top players playing really good, along with players like Yoel Armia and Nick Suzuki really elevating their game to help the team. And most of all, Jonathan Drouin was a standout player, playing the best hockey he's played in years on both ends of the ice. Then came the injury bug. Byron and Drouin go down pretty much at the same time, long-term injuries. Couple weeks later, KK goes down, and recently, Armia and Gallagher have gone down, and Gallagher could be out for a while with concussion. Armia, I believe, has a broken hand or broken finger. I'm not 100% sure what the deal is with Armia, and as a result of all these injuries and poor play by the goaltending, Montreal has dropped the majority of their last 20 games and now find herself with an 18-17-7 record, sitting outside of a playoff spot. They're currently 7 points behind Tampa for third in the Atlantic, 6 points behind Philadelphia for the last wildcard spot. It really isn't looking good at this point, but there are ways to turn it around and get back into a playoff spot and really be a competitive team for the first time since 2016. Adding a good left-sided defenseman who can produce on the power play as well as bring a well-needed addition, an upgrade on Brett Kulak, I should say. And the recent addition of Marco Scandella definitely helps that for sure. He only played one game, and that was last night, but is without a doubt a huge upgrade on Brett Kulak. Also, the recent addition of Ilya Kovalchuk could really help the team's power play, which hasn't scored in his last 8 power play attempts. If Kovalchuk could find his game in Montreal, he could bring some well-needed scoring that, let's face it, the team desperately needs at this point. With Gali, Drouin, Armia, and Byron out for extended periods of time, they really, really need all the scoring they can get. It's getting desperation time here in Montreal, which is why young players and leaders in all around, pretty much the whole team, needs to play the best hockey of their lives for this team to realistically compete in the NHL right now. KK, who recently has been good, but before that was kind of a letdown, really needs to up his scoring. Him adding consistent scoring would make up for the loss of a player like Yoel Armia. Suzuki, Domi, Weber, etc., I'm not saying they're playing bags. They're all playing really good. They all need to consistently score at and play at pretty much a career best pace for Montreal to compete with all these injuries. Another thing that would help this team is tighter, smarter defense. I like the top line of Sherratt and Weber a lot, but the second defensive pairing, especially Petrie, really needs to stop collapsing in front of Price and making bonehead moves that lead to turnovers. It's really hurting the team, especially late in periods. I believe Montreal has the most last minute in a period goals given up in the league. It's crazy. And a big part of that is Jeff Petrie making really bad turnovers. I don't mean to single Jeff Petrie out, but he is really struggling in Montreal. He's not producing like he was last year offensively, and on the defensive end, he's been absolutely terrible. Brett Kulak was really terrible on the defensive end too. Marco Scandella played last night, looked like a massive upgrade to Brett Kulak. Really reliable in his own end, had a couple nice shots from the blue line, looked decent on the power play. All in all, looked like a solid addition to the left side that Montreal needed. Now, Scandella isn't going to be a partner for Weber. Weber and Sherratt look really good together. I know a lot of people say they're kind of slow. Well, they make up for it with reliability, hockey IQ, and on the offensive end, they've both been producing more than what they usually do. Definitely better than what they did last year. But as far as Scandella, I think he could make a good second pairing defenseman. He could move up on the second line or stay at that third line with Cale Fleury. But last night, I know it's only a one-game assessment, but I've seen this guy play a ton in Buffalo. He looked really good. Most of all, what Montreal needs, though, to truly compete and truly give themselves a way back into the playoffs is Carey Price has to be way better. And I mean a lot more consistent than what he's been. Price looked awesome in the first 20 games. He really did. He had a solid save percentage. I believe it was like 9-13, 9-14. I know it's not great, but it was pretty solid. And a good record overall and a decent goals against. But the last 15 starts he's had have pretty much been a disaster. He played well last night, but overall the last 15 starts this guy's had have pretty much been a disaster. plagued with inconsistency. Certain games were blowout games, like the 8-1 shellacking they took against the Bruins, and also giving up those late last-minute goals in a period. It's killing the Habs. That has really cost the team a lot of wins, and dropped Price's numbers to a record of 16, 14, and 4, with a 0.902 save percentage and 3 goals against overall. If Price can find his top form and bring out the beast we all know he can be, he can without a doubt get this team back in the race, because he's good enough to carry this team on his back single-handedly and get them into the playoffs. So that's a couple ways I think Montreal could get back in the playoffs. Carey Price has to be really good. All the players have to play the best hockey they've played in their lives, especially the top players like Shea Weber, Max Domi, Nick Suzuki, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Tatar's been awesome. Danault's been awesome. They all need to stay consistent, and they all need to play well. I can't say enough for how well Max Domi's been playing lately, but it still hasn't transitioned to the team getting wins. They can't be losing these games by 1 goal. They need to scrape out points. If they are going to lose a game, at least force it to overtime. Be more competitive. The defense needs to tighten up. And most of all, the main thing Montreal needs to do if they want to get back into the playoffs, Carey Price really needs to find his game. He needs to find that beast we all know he can be, put this team on his back, put up like a .930 save percentage, a .940 save percentage over the next 20 games, and steal a pile of wins. Get them 15 wins out of your next 20 games, because the Habs can get back in this race, and I have faith in this team. It's not over yet. They're only 6 points out of a playoff spot, and they can do it. That's just my opinion. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. Go Habs, go. Scotty to hockey, over and out.